Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pitch Side podcast channel. I'm your host, the HOD of the PSP. As usual, like, share, comment on this video what you think, subscribe to the channel if you're new, most importantly, and enable notifications to receive all the updates of these match recaps and all other content on the channel. Follow us on social media. I'm at PSP on Twitter, Pitch Side Pod on Instagram, and you could listen to the podcast dropping tomorrow on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform. We're coming to you straight after the semi-final of the Coppa Italia just ended, the first leg of it, at least between Inter Milan and Juventus, and this was a game that was different. I think Pirlo learned his lesson from the first game they had in the league where they lost 2-0 to the Conte side. They changed their sort of method to the game, not exactly the formation because they started with the 4-4-2. They changed the personnel, of course. Cuadrado returned on the right-hand side with Alexandro on the left being recovered from COVID. In the middle of the park it was Bentancur, Rabiot, McKennie and Bernardeschi, and up front it was Kulusevski and Ronaldo, and I thought it was a smart choice of lineup, particularly also the centre halves as well, with Demiral and De Ligt being chosen instead of Chiellini and Bonucci, which was almost the wrong choice in the beginning of the game. When the first 10 minutes or so it looked like the game was going to take a similar sort of path to the game in the league, where Juventus are going to be trying to possess, playing a little bit wide without any depth, and Inter were bouncing on the counter. They scored early, Inter, from a counter, pretty much the same way they conceded the second goal against Inter in the league, where they get pretty caught on the counter, loads of spaces in behind. De Ligt with a bad marking for Lautaro Martinez in the middle allows him to finish in a goal that I think Buffon, it's a shame to say that, but he could have done better on the shot for Martinez. It wasn't that strong. I thought he could have saved it really, but it was 1-0 for Inter inside 9 minutes, and it looked like the game might take the similar path to the league fixture between the two sides, but it didn't, and Juventus, I think, decided, well, we should switch the mode here. They become more direct. They decided to play a little bit more quickly in transition, a little bit more intense as well, in pressing the midfield players for Inter Milan, not allowing them to have the space and the time to find options for passing, particularly Nicola Barella and Brozovic, who started the attack from behind. The support was coming from McKennie, one of the most important players in the game for Juventus today, was Weston McKennie, as well as Juan Cuadrado. It was a difference between Juan Cuadrado and Danilo. The fact that you have someone like Cuadrado who's willing to run forward, who's willing to make those runs, willing to put those crosses. He was probably best player in Juventus today. He made a big difference from that right-hand side, both offensively and improving his defensive game as well, even probably better than Danilo in that position. He was behind the penalty for the first goal. He made a lot of runs and a lot of crosses throughout the game. His link-up play, has been tremendous. He's so mobile and dynamic compared to Danilo, who almost plays on the touchline, it seems, even when he ventures forward. Cuadrado is transformed really well into that fullback, cutting inside, trying to tuck, trying to link up with the likes of McKennie and Rabiot and Bentancur. Ronaldo dropping deep, Kulusevski trying to take the centre space at certain points. He didn't have the best of games, Kulusevski, but he was good value for the time that he spent on the pitch. Inter, otherwise, they couldn't do what they could do in the league game, particularly in the second half, and Pirlo, I think, played it smart in the second half by giving Inter the possession. That is the worst thing you could do to Inter, that give them possession and let them try and do something with it, and they weren't able to do that for a combination of lack of creativity, getting Eriksen pretty late in the game comparatively, 72 minutes, getting Eriksen in is not really good. Also a combination of a couple of goalkeeper saves, really. I just bashed Buffon for his reaction in the first goal, but his reflex saves were out of this world. In the second half, he pulled 2 saves really, denying Inter the chance to equalise and to return in the score sheet. Of course, from the 2-1 lead of Juventus at half-time, it was, I think, the opposite of the game in the league, particularly from the Inter perspective. They weren't really as sharp, as incisive as they were in that league game. The absence of Hakimi and Lukaku played a big difference, because Hakimi was one of the best players in the league match. Lukaku gave Chiellini and Bonucci a really tough time down the middle. Alexis Sanchez didn't do the same. He was pulling more often than not, almost escaping from the defenders. It wasn't like Lukaku's runs where he just pulls deep and try to drop deep to set up space and try to hold the play. Alexis Sanchez wasn't doing that. He was dropping deep, escaping the defenders to escape the pressure, because physically he could not have the same presence as Lukaku. Di Maria had a great game in the back for Juventus. It was, I think, again, it was a better game for Juventus, a drastically more direct game from Juventus than the game in the league, and Inter didn't found their standards, didn't found these same tropes that they used to do. They went into the aggressive mode a little bit later on. Again, Vidal was taken off and he was angry about it once again. It all went wrong for Conte pretty much in this game. At the time, we were praising them for the latest run in the league, their win against Inter Milan, and the win against AC Milan in the Cup just the round prior, their win against Juventus in the league. We thought, well, they might be on something here, but I think this was a reality check for Conte. Not every time what you want from the players works, and Pirlo, I think, worked with the saying "fool me twice, shame on me," because he certainly learned his lesson from the first game, modified his plan, and got the result that he needed. He's going to the Allianz Stadium next week with a 2-1 lead. Not exactly the healthiest of leads, but still a victory, and the return of Lukaku and Hakimi to the side next week. We'll see how it is going to help Inter or not returning in the semi-final. Could they book a place in the final in the second leg or not? We will wait and see. That's it for the game. Again, like, share. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Follow us on social media. I'm at SitePSP on Twitter, page SitePod on Instagram. Listen to the podcast tomorrow on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Goodbye.